Hello there, dear YouTubers. My name is King1993, and today I want to talk about something important, especially for the beginner players and even for some older players, to use this following method to make sure that you can get the maximum amount of damage as much as possible in this gameplay. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. And also another thing that I must need to mention, that this is a DPS Valkyrie characters only video. In a later video which I'll make in the future, I will be talking about the support characters in this game. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. And also another thing, this video is not for meta people, so those of you who uses meta tactics to get the maximum damage, like more than the maximum damage possible, and you basically go around and insult other people, this video is not for you. Okay, so let's start. So as you know that this game is a very old game, and there are very old characters and very a lot of new characters. So when it comes to the old characters versus new characters, you'll eventually get confused because the amount of character in this game is a lot. Like if you were to read all of the description of all of these characters, then by the point you can fully understand how to use them, you will become so confused that you will eventually feel like quitting this game. So to make sure that you guys actually do not quit this game, there is a certain guide which I'm gonna show you, which will help you understand which type of character you should be getting. Okay, so as I've said, this is a DPS guide only, so let's talk about that. Okay, so here's the thing. First of all, to understand that this video is not for meta players. What are meta stands for? Meta stands for most effective tactics available. So the meta player, they just play for the maximum amount of damage possible, and as a result, if a certain deviation were to be made in that meta gameplay, then they basically say your gameplay is bad, this is not how you do it, that is how you do it. So if you again are the type of people who are watching this, just get lost. Okay, now first of all, for a for older player, or let's say for beginner player, there is three chart that I must need to show you. This chart was made by another YouTuber called Marisa Honkai. So Marisa Honkai have been making this chart for a very long time, and as you can see here in version 5.3, there are EX tiers, S tier, A plus tier, A tier, and B tier. So as you can see here, B tiers are basically the tiers that can not be able to defeat any of the new bosses which are basically available in the memorial arena or the super string dimension. Okay, so in case if you're wondering what is the memorial arena, so this one is called the memorial arena, and the new bosses that are here, okay, especially these two are basically very hard to defeat with the B rank characters. Okay, and obviously for super string dimension, recently I have played this one. Okay, and this one was so hard to complete that I had no other choice but to use the strongest possible character in the game in the lightning damage dealing category, and that is Mobius. Okay, now the question remains is, can you defeat these stages using old character? Can you defeat those stages using those old character, or let's say those B tier outclass character? Well, the answer is no, because this character here were once considered as the meta character when the boss were basically not that much strong. But the bosses in this game, okay, the bosses in the Honkai Impact game, such as Memorial Arena or Super String Dimension, has come to the point that it is now almost impossible to defeat them using the old character. So Marisa Honkai come up with this tier list on a regular basis. So as you can see here, this is an old chart. This is 5.3. So once 5.4 came, this entire B chart has been removed. Okay, now why is that? Well, the thing is, as you can see here, there is A plus, A, and B. So they had Marisa Honkai had to remove this entire B class, remove this A plus, and put this A into this category. So basically it became something like this. B, this is the new B class, This is the A tier, this is the S tier, and this is the EX tier. Okay. Now the reason why Marisa Honkai person made this chart a little bit different than the before, because most of the characters here are basically grindable, and because most of the character here are grindable, it is better to get a grindable character which can do a large quantity of damage dealing than characters who are grindable but also at the same time not very good to use. So eventually Marisa Honkai in the latest patch in 5.5 came up with another tier list which is different from 5.4, but this one is not that much difficult to understand, rather it is easy to understand. So I will try my best to make you guys understand of which character you should be getting as a free to play character, because as you can see here, even though all of these characters are basically very important, but at the end of the day what remains important is that getting all of them is almost not possible at a as a beginner player or even as an intermediate player. So what can you do? For both beginner player and intermediate player, I suggest that you do the following. For example, when it comes to the ice damage dealing, I suggest that you try to get uh, silver wing next. Okay, because silver wing next is basically an ice damage dealer, and in this game ice damage dealer are basically almost useless if they do not have their signature weapon. So I suggest that you try to get a silver wing next, that is the first priority, and then afterwards you must try to get this spina astra. Okay, now why? Because this spina astra is a fire damage dealer in the game, and because she is considered as a fire damage dealer in the game, it is better to have different types of damage output type of Valkyrie character. For example, this one is ice type, this one is fire type. Okay, now this one is grindable, so that is another benefit. And the second grindable as a lightning damage dealer is this fallen rosemary. So the thing is, if you want to do a large quantity of damage to the enemies, then I highly suggest that you try to grind for fallen rosemary, because fallen rosemary is also a grindable character, and because you must need to get at least very strong characters at the beginning of your gameplay, it is better to have fallen rosemary as a lightning damage dealer. Okay, now in the S tier finally are these two physical damage dealer. Okay, now Miss Pink Elf and Fervent Tempo, both of them are good. Okay, but when it comes to this stigmata related stuff, the stigmata related stuff is very easy to get for Miss Pink Elf than Fervent Tempo. But at least when even when you get the Fervent Tempo stigmata set, you will still be able to get a large quantity of damage dealing to the enemies. Now do remember that as you can see here, Miss Pink Elf is more useful in the Abyss, whereas Fervent Tempo is more useful in the SS Arena. So obviously both of them are going to be useful. So overall the final question remains is which character you should be getting as a beginner or an intermediate player. As a beginner or intermediate player, I suggest that you try to get Silver Wing decks using your saved crystals as a ice damage dealer, and for the fire damage dealer and lightning damage dealer and this physical damage dealer, these 1 2 3 4, these four Valkyrie characters are basically a very good option for you, because they are grindable, and the only thing that you must need to give them is their own signature weapon. And obviously if you were to grind for this character and then after getting silver wing next you try to grind for their weapons, it is gonna be very easy to actually get large quantity of damage to your opponents and actually get a good position in the game. And what do I mean by good position? Well, you see, whenever you try to win a certain fight, what basically happens is you will get rewards, and obviously the more rewards you try to get, the more powerful character you must need to get. So from that point of perspective, the character which I have shown you in this chart are basically the best, gonna be the best option for you. So that is basically it for this video regarding of which character you should be getting, to make sure that you will not feel overwhelmed when you see large quantity of characters in the game. Even though there are a lot of characters in the game, the most beneficial one for a beginners are the one which I just showed. Okay, so if you find this video useful regarding of which type of character you should be getting, then please give a like and subscribe and click the bell notification icon, because next time I will be talking about the support characters in the game and which support character you should try to get. Okay, so goodbye and stay safe.